Hey gents, welcome back to the channel. Imagine this, you're in a relationship, things seem fine on the surface, but something just doesn't sit right. You feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells and your confidence is slowly but surely slipping away. Does this sound familiar? Well, today we're diving into a crucial topic that can help you protect your mental and emotional well-being. The title of today's video is Narcissist Spotting Guide, the red flags to look for. So by the end of this video, you'll not only be able to identify the red flags of narcissistic behavior, but also have actionable steps to protect yourself and reclaim your power. So let's get started. Red flag number 1, projective identification. This is a tactic where a narcissist frames you as someone you're not and traps you in an identity that they find safe or manageable. This tactic is seen commonly in toxic behaviors and aims to freeze you in time, keeping you from evolving or growing beyond your control. So let me break it down for you. Firstly, they keep reminding you of your past mistakes or who you were once before. It's a constant effort to freeze you in time and make you doubt any growth or progress you make. Secondly, they discourage any form of your personal growth. Anything you do to improve yourself is met with criticism or belittlement. Lastly, they constantly assert control by reminding you of their rules or the dynamic in the relationship, basically emphasizing who's in charge. This behavior blocks a fundamental part of human nature, which is to evolve and grow. They create a controlled environment to compensate for their shortcomings or lack of confidence to grow in themselves. This tactic is also known as the route to easy superiority. Their laziness and bullying tactics to keep you small make them appear big. Another term for this phenomenon is called tall poppy syndrome, a toxic social structure that doesn't let others achieve or grow too tall as it makes others look bad. And I lived this commonly in lad culture in the UK, and I was constantly gaslit by mates. Oh, you think you're better than us now? When all I did was go to uni and try and pursue a better career. They're not prepared to do the work, but you are, my friend. This is the route to empowered superiority. And this is where the answer comes. Number 1, first and foremost, avoid these individuals if possible. Distance is absolutely a key to maintaining your sanity and sense of self. If full avoidance isn't an option for you, limit your interactions and create physical and emotional boundaries to protect yourself. Number 2, develop a mentality of self-affirmation and positive reinforcement for your growth. Regularly celebrate your achievements, no matter how small, and focus on your progress rather than their criticisms. Journals, vision boards, or positive affirmations can be powerful tools to do this. Own your changing identity and don't mimic behaviors that kept you safe in the past. Number 3, regularly check in with your own self-worth. And if you've installed a glass ceiling called an upper limit, it's a ceiling that's impenetrable and blocking you from rising change. Your self-worth should never be dictated by someone else's opinion or manipulation. So in this moment in time, do you feel undeserving or flawed when it comes to success? What helped me was surrounding myself with supportive people who genuinely value and uplift you, as we have a social psychology and a social self that wants to fit in and belong. And so belonging to a social network that already accepts you and lifts you up is absolutely key. Fourth, and finally, examine how you are still pleasing others to avoid conflict. Prioritizing appeasement compromises your integrity and reinforces the narcissist's control. It's really crucial to set your boundaries and realize that it's perfectly fine to confront issues head on. Pitying others keeps you perpetuating victim relationship dynamics. So we must explore Freudian etiology versus Adlerian teleology. And just to describe the two, Freudian etiology, this is what we believe when we think, this happened to me, so this is why I am the way I am. It keeps us stuck in the past. Adlerian teleology is telling us that this happened for me, and I'm motivated to make my situation better. You see the difference? We sometimes hold on to victim status because it brings attention and faux affection, perpetuating a victim story if we have had a life of absent love. It's familiar and something we can predict. So we must notice when we pity others instead of emphasizing and encouraging. The latter is usually always more helpful for someone to turn their world around and choose a more courageous story, so it's something we should do for ourselves. Courage to live toward growth, a common goal, and transmuting one's suffering into a purpose larger than themselves is a recipe for a secure relationship that recruits the best from one another. So here are some examples of structures that, dependent on the intent of the creator, can be good and bad for our growth, and they both use projective identifications. Parental stories. Stories from our parents who achieved success despite adversity can be powerful motivators. For instance, a parent who overcame financial struggles to provide a better future for their children often uses their own experiences to encourage their kids to strive for greatness rather than feel constrained by past hardships. That's a positive. But on the other hand, it could be used as a fundamental limiter, and just as we said before, a glass ceiling and upper limit. Just like this, they could projectively identify on you. We worked hard for your success, don't mess it up. And this can create a cage of scarcity, hoarding, and resourcefulness, making you feel inherently guilty for not living a conservative life. We also have government grants. These are often provided to support and encourage growth rather than perpetuate dependency. However, they do cultivate a dependency to coexist with this support. While this is utility for those in need, those who are actually capable may lean on them as a crutch that limits them and their self-sufficiency and also ambition. Think about that. So while we can't control the systems around us and what they think of us, we can definitely perceive them in an empowering way. Embracing a mindset where challenges are seen as opportunities for growth. For example, saying, "This brings me ever more reason to understand what not to be." This helps us transform negative experiences into valuable lessons for personal and professional development. Now, I know projective identification and the effects and what you can do about it was a long one, but I know it's a very important one to be aware of. Red flag number 2, silencing, censorship, and minimization. See, silencing, censorship, and minimization are classic tactics used by narcissists to assert control and maintain their superiority. Have you ever heard of phrases like, "You're not bringing in any money, so I don't want to hear it"? Or, "It's thanks to me there's food on the table"? These statements are designed to shame you and make you feel economically inferior. But let's be clear, economic superiority has no link to human worth. Roles in a relationship can be inherently different, but that doesn't mean they aren't equal in value. By reminding you of their financial contributions like this, they minimize your role and silence your voice. This tactic is another form of control that keeps you feeling small and insignificant. Red flag number 3, absence as value. Let's talk about inconsistency, but before so, let's watch this Instagram reel.
Always spontaneous love. Do that. First kiss of the day.
Especially after you've been mean to her all day, just
I
like
know.
randomly.
Yeah, you're right. No, that's you gotta bring them down, pick them up, roller coaster, keep them up, keep them down,
Don't.
keep them around. That's
Don't
the saying. If
go-
you keep them up and you keep them down, you keep them around. So balance is key.
Balance is key.
Put that in a book.
You can see it in her
A book
eyes.
of dumb things I have ever said to my wife. Write that one firsthand. Down.
Yeah.
She gets him back nicely. I think this is actually comedic. They're not meaning it, but it's a great example that is actually used legitimately in many relationships. Men do believe they need to emotionally manipulate their woman in their waves emotionally in order to make them hooked and crave them. This is never good. And what we notice is that this guy abruptly kisses his partner, pattern interrupts her normal behavior, and then says, "Bring them up, bring them down," and that keeps them hanging around. I know it's comedic, right? But it reflects a very toxic cycle of emotional manipulation. These tactics create a roller coaster of emotions designed to keep you hooked. As you can see, the idea of absence as value uses unpredictability and inconsistency to keep someone emotionally hooked. I talk about this more in how narcissists use confusion to get their way here. But narcissists often employ this emotional rollercoaster tactic to create an unstable environment where their presence and affection become a rare, tantalizing reward as and when it's shown. This tactic is emotionally draining for you and manipulative. And I believe consistency should be a pillar in any healthy relationship. Red flag number 4. Using flying monkeys. When things get really bad, a narcissist might recruit others to do their dirty work. This tactic is wonderfully illustrated by the flying monkeys in The Wizard of Oz, so it's a classic that we've all probably watched. A narcissist will enlist friends, family members, or colleagues to manipulate and attack their target on their behalf. This is an attempt to isolate the victim and amplify the narcissist's power and control. They basically create a network of enablers who spread lies or encourage or engage in other damaging behaviors to do the narcissist's bidding. This tactic is incredibly powerful because humans are generally inclined to trust others, assuming that they are moral and rational beings. Unfortunately, under the spell of a narcissist, these flying monkeys can become just as dangerous. This cowardly leadership shows their fear of the truth, dismantling their false reality. Always remember, don't fall for the manipulation by their enablers. Identify the source and protect your space. And perhaps detach meaning that these are human beings with great intentions because you know too well with enough evidence now that these are purely out to get you. Distance is absolutely okay. Red flag number 5, slander campaigns or humor to belittle. Narcissists often use subtle and overt slander to belittle and control their victims. Comments like, "You think too much," or gossiping behind your back about supposed deficiencies are techniques to make you doubt yourself. As Brené Brown advises, don't blow up, don't shrink, but stand your sacred ground. Here's how you can handle these situations better. Avoid internalizing their negative statements. They aim to elicit a reaction from you, making you feel small and insecure. So when facing such abusive behavior, the best approach is to deflect the comments by being unresponsive. Narcissists crave a reaction. Depriving them of it robs them of their power. In fact, I did a whole video on dealing with narcissists through humor and playing them at their own game here. But what it essentially boils down to is not playing the role assigned to you in their manipulative games. If you don't own the negative identity they're trying to impose upon you, then they lose their grip on you. So to sum it up, let's quickly recap the 5 red flags we've discussed today. Number 1, projective identification. They freeze you in time to keep you from evolving. 2, silencing, censorship, and minimization. They use economic superiority to belittle and silence you. 3, absence as value. They create emotional roller coasters to keep you hooked. 4, they use flying monkeys. They enlist others to do their dirty work, isolating and amplifying their own control. And finally, slander campaigns, humoring or belittling you. They belittle you through subtle or overt slander to make you feel super small. Recognizing these red flags is the first step to protecting yourself. It's crucial to remember that while narcissists aim to control and belittle, the power to reclaim your life and identity lies within you and not them. They will never change, and likely narcissists or those who are more overt with their behaviors tend to be the last to seek help and therapy. It's those that internalize, have the victim role or rescuer role, that tends to be too aware for their own good and end up fearing anything different. We catastrophize, we stay where we are because we're so scared of the unknown if we leave. So stay informed, stay strong, and most importantly, stay true to who you are. Again, thank you for staying with me through this important discussion, and if you found this video helpful, please do like, share with a mate, and subscribe for more empowering content. Also, don't hesitate to leave comments below about your experiences or any additional red flags you think others should be aware of. Let's create a supportive community where we uplift and protect each other. And until next time, take care and stay empowered. Thanks again for watching.